I wanted to say I have a tank in my pocket, all clever like, but this thing doesn't even fit. Hello, my friends. My name is Jake. Welcome to Returning Retro, where we talk about some vintage tech, some retro tech, and especially in today's video, maybe even to a fault, intentional tech. Now, I have to admit, my friends, I did not know what to expect when the good folks at 8849 reached out to me and said, hey, we've got an upcoming device. We're wondering if you'd be interested in trying it out for a few weeks before launch. Never really heard of 8849 before. They sent me a picture and I was like, oh, that's a tank phone. 8849 being a sub-brand, I believe, of Unihertz. But I am so pleasantly surprised. I had no expectations coming into this thing, but it's actually pretty cool in what it can do. And so we're gonna talk about it today. So without further delay, we're just gonna jump right over to the tabletop and give you guys an introduction to the 8849 Tank X. The 8849 Tank X, and boy, what a tank it is. So let's just jump in. There are so many cool things. Just absurd, but at the same time, cool things about this. Let's do a tour of the outside of the device. So over here on this, obviously you can see you've got ventilation ports on either side there, but over on this side here, you've got your power button, fingerprint scanner right there. Works pretty well. You've got screws everywhere. Around here on the back, you have what is called the camp light. You've got your camera array here, LED flash, and this, I'll show you a little bit later, is actually kind of a cool little feature. From here, let's go up over to the top. So something I really like about this is the hybrid SIM tray. You can pop it right out just with your finger if you'd like. And yeah, you can see it's either a dual nano SIM or a single SIM plus SD card. And I just think it's so cool that you don't even need a SIM extractor. You can just use, if you've got a little bit of a fingernail ready, you can take it right out. So next we have a IR blaster, tested it, works great. You've got one of the stars of the show, I'll put it that way, right here, the projector. And then over here, you've got the laser autofocus and auto keystone correction. But let me tell you a little bit about this projector. So this thing is a 1080p projector at 220 lumens, and it works so well. I was actually really surprised about the laser autofocus and the auto keystone correction. I've used projectors a little bit in the past, never one on a phone like this, but the auto correction and the auto focus can be a little bit hit or miss, and it works so well with this. I hooked it up, I put it on a video for the kids to watch a movie. It'll basically, how it works is it will just display whatever is showing on your screen. And so whatever you have shows up on the wall. In my case, Mario 64. Now, another thing that's kind of cool here, the exhaust vents, you can imagine with a projector running, it can get a little bit hot, so the fan does run and it runs a little bit loud. However, we can just jump right over into settings. Go down to projector, and when the projector is on, you can turn on night mode. And what that will do is it dims the brightness just a little bit, but it turns down the fan a lot, and it actually makes a huge difference in terms of the sound. Naturally, you can use the projector as a flashlight if you want to. One thing that I think is really cool that I think we probably will end up using this for is, since it just displays whatever you have on the screen, I thought, hey, let's put something on the screen that we might want to paint on a wall. Call it a mural, use it for the kids' room. You can just put it stationary, put it up on the wall, and paint away. So really cool feature. I've been super impressed with just how well it works. Now, I think this is probably also a good time to talk about the second star of the show, and that would be the battery. You can see this is a massive device. In fact, let's do a couple of size comparisons so you guys can get an idea of just how big this thing is. So here, I've got my Sleek phone, which, for those who are not familiar, is on mine a Pixel 7. So you can see just massive difference in size. Going down, I've got my trusty minimal phone, MP01. Again, you can see here, this is not a small phone. This is just a massive phone. A tank, some might say. Moving the way down, I've got my EcoMind 1. And then this is just gonna get a little bit laughable, my friends. My Blue Fox NX1. All of that is to say, this thing has a truly massive battery, clocking in at 17 1,600 milliamp hours. So you've got just over 17 amp hours in this. I think it's 2 cells. That's another reason why I think it's so big. You've got basically 2 different batteries in there. And holy smokes, my friends, I was able, and I am not exaggerating here, I started using this device on a Friday morning. And I used it as my phone device. I put Outlook, I put Teams, I put a bunch of social media apps. I used it for calling and texting, emailing, instant messaging back and forth. I wasn't on it constantly throughout the day, but I didn't try to go sparingly on this device. And 6 days later, when I finally plugged it in, because I was using the projector quite a bit, it still had 34% battery remaining. 34% battery remaining. So it went down 66% in 6 days. Coming around to the other side here really quickly, we've got your volume rocker here, and then you've got 2 programmable keys. The default setting for the red one here is I didn't change it. If you hold it down for a couple of seconds, it turns on the camp light. And yes, it is even brighter in person, but again, both of those are programmable. And I have to admit, I was more than a little surprised by the display. So let me show you here really quick. Let's go into display, let's go into settings. You've got the refresh rate. So check this out. It lets you choose. You can go down to 60 if you want just to have really, really even better insane battery life, 90 for the mid range, and then 120 hertz all the way up. And it lets you choose them there. Auto select is a good one if you just wanted to do it on its own. Now, something really cool about this is it is a full HD plus, but it is what is called a PWM free LCD. Some people call this like flicker free, anti-flicker. I had never heard of it, but I noticed that using this device, it was a little bit easier on the eyes than some of the other ones that I've used. So typically I prefer an OLED because I like the vibrant colors and the deep, deep dark blacks. But for people that maybe those types of displays cause a little bit too much eye strain, this might be something that is worth looking at. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about too, before I go into this quirky little thing here on the back, is the performance of this device is really good. So we've talked about battery life already, but it does not stutter. So it's running I'll throw the specs up on the screen here. I'm not gonna do too deep of a dive in here, but some of it I think is quite relevant. It's running a MediaTek Dimensity 8200. So it's got high efficiency, but also pretty high power. And it's paired with UFS 3.1. So the type of onboard storage is a very, very fast one. Speaking of which, it comes paired with 16 gigs of RAM and a half a terabyte of storage, which we already talked about was expandable. So anything that I threw at this, it never slowed down, it never stuttered, it never slowed down once, and it still got great battery life the whole time. So let's go into what I found here messing around, the toolbox. So this has a few really neat little apps in here that are kind of handy. You know, you got compass, flashlight, some of the usual suspects, but you've got a bubble level, magnifier, a plumb bob, which I thought was pretty cool, a speedometer. You've got the protractor, pressure, like all kinds of cool stuff that I think would be very useful, especially if you were on the job site or if you were into DIY projects. But this is the one, my friend, I have to admit, I can't really think of a practical application for this, but I had to show you. So this is the warning simulator. So you can choose your background music, they call it, which is just a bunch of different sirens. And check this out. Oh, yeah. So I admit, I cannot, maybe it's like an emergency beacon. Actually, that actually would be really, really hard to miss. So that's what I'm gonna say. This is for an emergency beacon in case that you need it. But again, pretty, shall we call it, unique set of features. And then rounding out the tour here, last but certainly not least, our friend, the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which I love to see. Now the speaker on it, yes, I said speaker, it is not a dual speaker setup, is right here down at the bottom, and it gets loud. So you don't have stereo output, which is a little bit of a bummer, but the volume there, I found it to be more than adequate to, for example, put a projector movie on and just turn it at about 3/4 volume, and it was more than enough. I also like that you've got this really, really sturdy lanyard or strap anchor point here, I think. And that's kind of the thing with the whole, I mean, you'd think with it being called the Tank X, it would be, but it feels solid, this device. You've got waterproofing, or sorry, water resistance as well. It's IP68, and I think maybe IP69X as well. I do encourage you, go over to the website. I'll put the link in the video description. Their web listing for this device, which is live now, is packed with information. And I have to admit, with such a very unique device as this, I wasn't expecting much in terms of specs or features, and the exact opposite I found to be true. They just crammed this thing full. Speaking of which, it goes, the pre-order for this goes live today, February 1st, or I should say the day that you guys are seeing this, because I am recording it in advance. and they're set to start shipping beginning of March. So if this is something that you think would be a good fit for you, you can order it today and it will start shipping in March. Pre-order, special introductory price, $549 US. Well, my friends, that's all I've got for you today with the 8849 Tank X. It has been a surprisingly neat device for me, and I could really see myself putting my work sim in this and just leaving it, which I did not expect at all when 8849 reached out to me. It has great battery life, it has great performance, it has a bunch of really quirky but also cool features that I think could be very, very handy. Thank you so much for being here, my friends. If you're new, please go to the website link in the description. It has all of my socials. Would love to interact with you. If you have questions about the Tank X, please go and drop them in the comments. Until next time, thanks so much for being here, my friends.